Oh, that sounds really cool. So I got a little freaky today. I tried to make a beat that really emulates what I listened to in the early 2010s. Moody chord progressions, tight drum lines, and overall just a dark sound that I'd imagine a lyricist like Lil Wayne would absolutely murder. So let's see, did I do it? Since I'm trying to emulate early 2010s hip hop, I'm going to start with a very minimal moody loop. And so what we're going to do is we're going to first change our key of our project. We're going to set that to D minor. I kind of drew up a chord structure that I think sounds good beforehand, just so that you don't have to wait for me to look through chord structures and see what I think sounds good. I wanted to come in prepared and just start with a moody chord structure that we can use as the backbone for the rest of our beat. We're going to click the plus button after opening our drawer so that we can start drawing in our chords. We're going to double the chord rhythm, double it again, double it one more time. So in each bar, we have a different chord playing, and I'm going to actually have this for now. Well, we'll start just drawing it in. So we're going to start D minor, going to G minor, going to E minor 7 flat 5 or E half diminished to A7. And we can then half this, Command R, repeat it, select both of them, and then Command J, join them back together. And in doing so, we now have a repeated chord progression. We're going to set our looping bar up here to 8 bars. We're going to click, drag this down, and then we can close our tray because we have our progression now, and it sounds like this. Moody. We're going to now take our chord progression and find a instrument that really brings out the moodiness of this. I kind of want either something to do with strings, or I want like a polyphonic lead synth that sounds good and really exemplifies the early 2010s hip hop in my mind. Going to reset our channels. Oh, not now, Siri. I'm going to reset our channel strip. Oh, we already did. And we're going to pull out our Analog Labs instrument pack. That sounds kind of cool, but I want to keep going. I really like that sound. So what I'm going to do is duplicate by Command D, duplicate the track, drag this progression, Option click it, drag it down. So hold down Option, click at least on Mac, hold down Option, click the track, drag it down, it'll create a duplicate track. And we're going to mute that for now just because I really like the sound of that, but I'm modifying this one right now and I want to find airy, ethereal synth that really brings the moodiness to another level of that chord progression. Wow, okay, we're going to do exactly what we just did again and save off that sound. And we're going to keep looking for the synth that we want, but I really like those plucks at the beginning note, and I think that would go really cool with the arpeggio guitar that we just had if we just like take both of those and then destroy them a little bit so it's just in the background and playing with the chord progression that we have. I really like this. I want to see what this sounds like when these chords are staccatoed. I think it's what it's called, when they're just choppy. So I'm going to select this up here, this option at the top of our MIDI editor, and click the scissor tool. So then when I hold Command down, you can see my cursor here. I get the scissor tool, and then I'm going to hold down Command and Option. And for all of these, I'm going to go Now when I hit Command All and then hold down Command and Option and click, it will dice up for this chord all of these MIDI notes at the tick mark that I clicked on, repetitively go down. So see, let's try it again on a different tick mark here. You'll see this gets chopped up into 4 notes now instead of the 8th notes that I did for this one. You can even do in between notes. So now you get weird, I don't even know what that is. You get weird chops in your notes, but I'm going to do 8th notes on all of these because I want to hear what 8th notes sound like on this synth. It doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. We can try quarter notes too. I think 8th notes will sound kind of wonky. And I also I don't want them bleeding into each other. I want to reduce the size down so that it has space between each note. Okay, we're gonna try quarter notes and reducing the size the same way so that there's more space in between the notes, just because I think I really like the sound of this when it does that. I just don't like how. So now we've got more space between our notes. Now let's add these other instruments back to it and see. Let's add just the plucked and see what it sounds like. Now let's add the arpeggiated guitars back and see how that sounds. I really like that. I want to make the guitars more distant. Sorry, I'm allergic to our cats, and so in order for me to not get, a whole bunch of mucus growing as I talk, I'm drinking hot water with lemon juice and honey, also soothe my throat so I can talk longer. Because I work from home, so I don't really talk a whole bunch to a lot of people. So let's take these guitars. I want to take all of these. And what I want to do is first off, I'm going to take our synth that we started with. I'm going to EQ it up a little bit. So I've scooped out the low end and I've scooped out some of the high end, and it gives it this broken sound that I really like. And then I'm going to add some basic compression to it. So I think I'm going to throw an 1176 on. Yeah, 1176. That is the one I want. And I'm going to throw on let's try this Rhodes leveler and see what it sounds like. See, it kind of adds a little bit of presence to it. I just want to tame any sort of highs with that and just really, really give it the presence that it deserves as our lead moody synth. Now, I'm going to do the same thing to our guitars, except I want to make them very distant. So I'm going to create a chain on their track here. So if I hit X, let's start from the beginning. Hitting X on your keyboard brings up your mixing rack, and this allows you to do more than just, pan and volume change your tracks like you would be able to on this easy side access bar here. What this allows you to do is look at all of the tracks you have, and it gives you the options to add audio effects. It allows you to change the inputs. It allows you to add MIDI effects. This is like just the overarching stock Logic EQ. And it allows you to obviously adjust your volume with your knobs here. You can also access this if you don't want to hit X and take up screen space. You can also access this by hitting, I believe it's I on your keyboard. So if you open up your Logic Pro session and you just have this view here, hitting I opens up this inspector on the side, and by clicking on your different tracks, you can then access the same track view as you would be able to have opening up your overall like master mixing board. And so just an easy quick hack. And then Y opens up your sound library if you have that downloaded. So there you go, little crash course to music production on Logic Pro. Okay, for our guitars, we're gonna start with just some simple EQ. We're gonna scoop out our lows because we don't want them taking up any space that's reserved for, you know, our kick or our sub patterns. And then we are going to put a little shelf down in this 6 to 8K range. That's just to tame a lot of the high end of the guitar because we don't want the guitar taking it. It's not the star of the show. The synth is the star of the show, and we want the synth to, even though it doesn't exist there fully, because I scooped out a lot of the high end of it, we still want it to be predominantly the synth. We are now going to add some tape saturation to it, and I kind of want to do that through one of my favorite plugins, which is just the Studer tape recorder from UAD. See what their best of is. Acoustic Enhance and Classic Rock Crisp. Let's try the Acoustic Enhance guitar pattern. So we're going to click this S button to solo out the track. Now we can listen to just that track. Okay, next we want a little bit of movement. So I kind of want to try this Meta Flanger by Waves. And we will take this and go dead just a classic phaser and see how it sounds. Oh, I like the sound of that a lot. Okay, now we're gonna go with a large dark hall. So let's see, Lexicon, digital reverb. Let's try this one out. I haven't tried this plugin, so I don't know how it sounds, but I want to try just adding just a giant dark room. Now we're gonna try a little delay. So let's see what we have for delays. Let's try H delay, see how it sounds. We're gonna add just very, very, very subtle delay. So we want we just want the most subtle delay, and you can kind of hear it ping pong to the right side if you have headphones on. You probably won't be able to hear it if you're just watching on your phone, but if you have headphones on, you can probably hear the most subtle delay kicking in on the right side. So let's play it again and try and listen for that. Sounds really cool. Would recommend listening with headphones if you have some. We're gonna just add very gentle glue to this. And so we're gonna use the Manley Massive Passive EQ and just add a nice glue. Let's see. What do we have? Body. Let's do Guitar Tamer. See how that sounds. Nice. I really like the sound of that. And then we're going to mix it and bring it further back so that it exists as a nice ambient background texture. Because a lot of early 2010s, a lot of the songs that I really liked in hip hop were very airy and it felt like you were floating, and it gave a lot of focus to the vocals and the actual rapping that was done. And so I want to emulate that and just create a very airy, moody texture that just sits in the background of our already moody chord progression and just creates a very nice, almost psychedelic track that someone could potentially put vocals on. So now, how do we get what we just did, all of the work that we just did, onto our other guitar track? Because I want to preserve a lot of this plugin setup for this other guitar track that we have. And a good way there are two ways you can do this. There's an easy way, and then there's a slightly more intensive way. The more intensive way is holding down Option, clicking, dragging over. And you can do that per plugin. Now, the way that's easier is by clicking this little settings bar up here, copy channel strip settings, going over to the channel that you want to paste the settings to, and then hit paste plugins only. And now you've got all of your plugins over here. Nice and easy. So let's solo these two out and see how they sound. Now our plucks are going to be on the left side and our arpeggio is going to be on the right side. And they're both going to be loud, so let's start with them loud for now. I messed up. I don't know why it pasted the instrument over too. That's weird. So we're going to go the hard way. And Option click. As you can see, that way is very frustrating because it opens up all of your plugins for you, which I don't like. Take two. Here we go. So we can already tell that the arpeggio is really taking over. It's higher pitched, and I kind of want to pull out. What we could do is we could actually just Command All, move it down an octave, and now we'll get. I also saw a video recently where someone took just the top notes in all of these chords and moved those down an octave. And see how it overlaps with some of our other notes. I kind of like it, so I'm going to leave it, but it's still getting a lot of the focus in this mix. So we're actually, before we even start and listen to the whole thing, we're going to drop these down to about minus 12 dB. So now it sounds like. Now I'm modifying it separately so that these two are balanced. Now added back to our initial mix, we've got. So it's really nice to hear it sitting nice and far back in our mix right now. I really like that. I think I want an atmospheric pad right now. I think I want to take our progression, again, drag it down, close our taskbar because we don't need it anymore. I'm going to go into our MIDI region by double clicking. And then I'm going to take out. I'm going to take out all the tops of our notes there. So now we just get. See, that already sounds really cool. So I'm going to duplicate it. Duplicate it, option click, drag it down, and then I'm going to go find another atmospheric pad because I really like, I don't know, I really like those notes being accentuated at the bottom of the initial, you know, ba 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 ba. Just plays the bottom note. I'm going to go into pads. I'm going to look and do styles. I want maybe hip hop, but I want dark. And now I can try some of these. That sounds really, really cool. Okay. Now, my notepad. Anchor the beat in a tight drum pattern. I would call that a punchy kick, so we're going to go with that. I'm going to drag it in. Don't like that repeated. So I'm going to drag this into our optimized sampler, take note of our root key here, A2, which I believe is, that sounds a lot like it. Let's see what it sounds like on Splice again. That's the same note. We can also change this if we want, like I could drag this up to C3. Now A3 sounds deeper because it's, but let's quantize that. Now let's add our snare. See how it sounds. Now, for the fun part, let's add a tight hi-hat pattern to this. Okay, let's try that. So what I did was I set it to 32 steps, and then I hit the up arrow here, and what that did was filled all of these. So now it sounds like, we don't want that. I want eighth notes. So now it sounds like, what I can do now is play around with the repeat. I'm going to turn this down because it's hurting my ears. So once I click the repeat here, what you can do is you can drag up or down to 1, up to 16. Oh, I guess you can drag it along too. I didn't know that. But I'm going to drag it to 1, reset all of these to 1. And what that does is, let's put these both at 16 so you can just hear a very exaggerated example of this. That sucks. We hate that. We're going to set it to 1. Adding in 2s and 3s in random spots adds nice difference to your hat pattern. The cool part about that is we've got that pattern hammered out. We can then go here, convert to MIDI region, go to our MIDI inspector by double clicking. Now you can see these notes. I'm going to Command Alt. I'm going to humanize this so it kind of looks like someone played it. So you'll see variances in where they are, the velocity, how hard they were hit, and you can see that it doesn't look like I just dragged it in from a pattern region now as much. I also want to add in some delay so it kind of sits back and gives it this laid back feel. Still sounds a little boring, so what we're going to do is we can now take these, give them different pitches, give it some wobble there, throw these up, throw this one down randomly, throw this one high. Now we get I don't know how married I am to this sample. I'm going to find another one. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do exactly what we did before with our hat. Grab it, put it into the optimized quick sampler, make sure it's still on the same root node of C3. Get rid of this. Just drag this pattern down. Now you've got... Now, very big thing, 808. The fun part. I'm actually going to option click this down. It's already in a pretty low part of the MIDI range. I'm going to take this. I'm going to grab a sub. Let's try the super sub 808 bass. You like that? Let's go up. Take all of these, bring them to the max velocity. Make sure that they don't overlap. That gap at the end allows them to really punch. So now we'll hear it. So I'm going to try and if I shift click the kick. There we go. Now we've got our notes on there. Try getting rid of this one, bringing it here. Drag it all the way back, and I'm gonna maybe do these two. Now let's hear what it sounds like. Let's try. I like that a lot better. We are going to EQ, compress, make sure that all of these drum portions come together very nicely. So we're going to start with our kick. We're going to analyze our kick. I think we're gonna cut it at like 80 and bring our high cut down to like Okay, let's use the same thing we used before. Let's use our 1176 again. And what we'll do is we will find one for drums. See if they have a kick specifically. Thwacker. See what that sounds like. Let's add some tape to it. Cool. For our snare, let's try a different EQ. I just want to try something different. VEQ4. See what that looks like. Ooh, let's see if they have a cool preset. Snare 2. Let's see what that sounds like. See how that sounds with the kick. That sounds really cool. We're gonna add some compression to it as well, and use the LA3A. I like punch in my snare. Now I want to add a little bit of ambiance to it. Small room. I want a small room. That could be cool. That could be cool. Really, really subtle. Bring the wet down. Add reverb that way. Time to add our hats in. Brighten our hi-hats. Let's put on Oxide. Let's try Pleasant Piano. Let's just see how it sounds. Can't even tell it's there because I can't hear it. So we're going to go with it. A little bit of compression to our hi-hats to just tighten them up a little bit. Let's do our 808s. The first step for getting our 808 is a little bit of EQing. So let's add some saturation to it next with some R bass. Then we're gonna add on some very, very basic, very light compression with the LA2A. And then we're going to sidechain. We're gonna sidechain our bass to our kick just so it ducks a little bit when the kick plays. This just gives it a little bit of clarity and doesn't have the bottom end sounding as muddy. Let's hear it with the rest of our drums. All right, let's hear what that sounds like. Rest of our mix so far. Ooh, I'm gonna mix that up slightly. Okay, so now I want to find some vocal samples that are really airy and could add to this a little bit. Oh, that sounds really cool. I kind of want to chop this sample up, but I'm just gonna listen to it in the background for a second. This area. That sounds kind of sick, right?
Yeah, I dig that.
That sounds really
That's
cool.
fucking cool.
Okay, that sounds really cool. I'm gonna put that into the sampler and see what I can play with it right now. Okay, we're gonna put that in the background and we're going to expand this to 16 and we're just gonna play something with it for now, I guess. Oh, that sounds kind of cool. Okay, let's do some arranging here. I'm gonna take all of this. This is gonna be my verse. I'm gonna move it to the 8-bar mark just because I want an 8-bar intro. It needs a higher pitched synth. That's what it needs. It needs more. It needs more emphasis in there. Let's grab our initial super short stab synth. I just want the highs. So now I just have a line there. Okay, and then we bring back in this for a second chorus. We're gonna throw down a different pattern with our sample in this second chorus. I want a different sub for this, I think. trying out Logic Pro's mastering assistant just because I want to get a quick demo master so that Azaria can listen to this. I put it on Valve because that's the recommended character for the mastering assistant for hip hop music. Okay. All right. We're going to have her listen to it and see what she thinks. Sitting back a little bit more. But I wanted that sharp, those sharp stabs to come in with the other stabs because the sharp stabs are a very good delineation between like chorus and verse.
Yes. It doesn't hurt your ears though.
Exactly. You're right. I agree.